Well, ladies and gentlemen, it's safe to say that things just keep getting worse for Snow White and Rachel Zegler. No matter how hard they try to dodge the backlash, it keeps finding them. But here's where things get really interesting. Apparently, even the actors working on the film have admitted that Disney is actively trying to avoid controversy, specifically because of Rachel Zegler. She is, according to these reports, the reason behind the scaled-back promotions, the cancelled US premiere, the lack of interviews, and the restricted UK events. We previously covered rumors suggesting this exact scenario, but now it looks like we have confirmation from an actor in the film itself. Disney is desperately trying to shield everyone from backlash. And it's not working? Let's dive into this latest update from that park place. But before we do, if you're new here, consider hitting that subscribe button and liking the video to help us push this story out into the YouTube algorithm. So, here's the headline: Snow White actor admits Disney scaled back the premiere due to fear of Rachel Zegler controversies, while also criticizing the changes to the Dwarfs and repeating the studio's revisionist history. As Disney's Snow White continues to be engulfed in controversy, it seems one of the film's own stars has confirmed what many already suspected. Disney is too afraid to hold a proper premiere. And now, we know why. Martin CBA, the voice of Grumpy in the film, revealed that the studio scaled back the event due to fears of backlash. However, while he openly criticized Disney's handling of the Seven Dwarfs, he also repeated the studio's official narrative, that they had always planned to use motion capture animation for the characters. Of course, this directly contradicts previous reports, leaked set photos, and even past statements from Disney itself. Let's be honest, does anyone actually believe that Disney originally intended to use fully animated dwarfs? Not a chance! Aside from maybe a few hardcore Disney loyalists, it's clear that this claim is just damage control. From behind-the-scenes reports to set leaks, it was obvious that the original plan was to have a group of 7 diverse people, only one of whom was an actual dwarf. The rest? Just regular actors, not even playing dwarfs at all. But then came the backlash, and not just because of Rachel Zegler's comments, but also because of those infamous leaked set photos. And what did Disney do? They panicked. They delayed the movie for almost a year, even though it was originally set to release much earlier. A year ago, this movie was supposed to hit theaters. Instead, Disney hit the brakes, delayed the release, and scrambled to do extensive reshoots. And now, after all that time, they suddenly drop a trailer featuring, boom, 7 animated dwarfs. But here's the thing. If that was always the plan, why didn't they say so earlier? They could have immediately addressed the backlash, reassured fans, and shut down the controversy surrounding the leaked set photos. But no, they stayed silent for nearly a year, then quietly released a trailer that magically included animated dwarfs, without a single statement to clear up the confusion. That's why nobody believes they originally intended to go this route. It reeks of last-minute damage control. And I'm not buying it either. In an interview with The Hollywood Reporter, Martin CBA openly admitted that the upcoming premiere is nothing like what you'd expect for a remake of Disney's very first animated classic. It really isn't going to be a red carpet, he said. It's going to be at the El Capitan Theater, which is cool, but it's basically going to be a pre-party watch of the movie, and that's it. No grand event. No spectacle, no major celebration. For a movie remaking Disney's very first animated film, this should have been a historic, star-studded affair. Instead, thanks to all the controversy, they're keeping it low-key, hoping the drama dies down before anyone asks more questions. Disney is terrified of the backlash. They're dodging publicity, scaling back events, and doing everything possible to keep this film under the radar, which is never a good sign. Martin CBA, who voices Grumpy, confirmed that the studio pulled back on the premiere specifically because of the controversy surrounding lead actress Rachel Zegler. And let's be real, she's been widely criticized for her dismissive attitude toward the original Snow White and her politically charged rants on social media. And here's the real problem. This is what happens when a studio prioritizes identity over talent. Let's be honest, Rachel Zegler's filmography doesn't scream A-list leading lady. Most of her projects have been box office flops, and there was nothing in her track record that screamed, yep, this is the perfect Snow White. But Disney didn't cast her based on talent or suitability, they cast her to check a box. And what happens when you hire an activist instead of an actress? You get someone who makes everything about themselves, alienates fans, and turns a classic into a controversy. Now, Disney is stuck dealing with the mess they created. They made their bed, now they have to lie in it. Disney's decision to shut out the press was already a red flag, but hearing one of the film's own actors confirm that the studio is running scared, that just reinforces the idea that Snow White is headed for disaster. But CBA also took issue with another controversial change: the modernized portrayal of the 7 dwarfs. This shift was heavily influenced by actor Peter Dinklage, who criticized the original fairy tale as backward. I don't usually get into political stuff, but I felt dwarfs aren't going to go away just because you can't imagine that. They're there, CBA said. We're still going to be walking around, so I didn't get the whole thing about... Clearly, even cast members are questioning Disney's decisions. And if the people in the movie aren't on board, what does that say about the final product? Disney's decision to scrap traditional dwarves for CGI creations has stirred even more controversy, especially among little people actors in Hollywood. Martin CBA, the only little person cast in the film, has openly expressed frustration over how Disney pushed out actual dwarf actors in favor of computer-generated stand-ins. Many in the industry see this as a missed opportunity for real representation, proving once again that Disney only cares about optics, not actual inclusion. And let's be real, this shift was largely driven by Peter Dinklage's criticism of the classic story. He framed it as offensive and outdated, making it nearly impossible for other little person actors to land these roles. Instead of advocating for fair representation, he slammed the door shut, ensuring that no one else could step up to take the opportunity. At first, Disney tried to compromise, opting for a diverse cast with only 1 dwarf for representation. But after the backlash to leaked set photos, they completely abandoned that idea and went full CGI. Why? Because CGI can't be offended. With animated characters, Disney could dodge accusations of stereotyping while still including the dwarves, just in a way that wouldn't spark as much controversy. However, despite his own frustrations, CBA still repeated Disney's official talking point that CGI dwarves were always part of the plan. But that claim falls apart under scrutiny. Set photos from 2022 prove otherwise, clearly showing a diverse group of actors of different sizes and genders playing the 7 dwarves. The backlash to those images was immediate and severe, with fans accusing Disney of erasing the original characters in favor of generic human replacements. And let's not forget, the only dwarf actor in that lineup was front and center in those photos. Everyone else? Just regular actors. This whole situation just proves that Disney had no real plan, just a series of desperate pivots in an attempt to dodge controversy. But instead of winning over audiences, they've angered both traditional Disney fans and the communities they claim to represent. The reporter who originally broke the story even acknowledged that Disney had changed course after the backlash, admitting that the studio ultimately opted for CGI instead of practical effects. But here's where things take a turn. Later, that very same outlet quietly revised its article to erase this key detail, suddenly claiming that CGI was always the plan. Now, let's be honest, that's a clear case of Disney trying to rewrite history right in front of our eyes. Why did this happen? Well, let's connect the dots. The most likely scenario is that Disney's legal team got involved. Picture this. Disney reaches out to the Hollywood Reporter with their army of lawyers, makes a few not-so-subtle suggestions, and the outlet, fearing potential legal repercussions or losing access to Disney in the future, quickly falls in line. The conversation probably went something like this. Disney's lawyers: "Yeah, we need you to change this article immediately." Hollywood Reporter: "Oh, right away. Please don't sue us." It never happened. CGI was always the